Its game against the Padres, which starts soon. You're looking at video from one of our affiliates of several federal agents on one of the streets leading to Dodger Stadium. The Department of Homeland Security, though, denies this had anything to do with Trump's immigration crackdown. Natasha Chen is there out front.
Tensions flared outside Dodger Stadium after the team says they denied attempts by ICE agents to access stadium grounds. Dozens of federal agents, some dressed in tactical gear and masks, stood alongside vans parked along entrance roads while a small group of protesters gathered nearby. The Department of Homeland Security, however, disputes that the Dodgers had anything to do with today's events, writing in a post on X that CBP vehicles were in the stadium parking lot very briefly, unrelated to any operation or enforcement. The agency claims their vehicles were on or near the grounds. They said they had to stay in the area longer because one of the cars had a malfunction. They did not identify the parking lot the agents were in when the vehicle broke down. The incident comes as protesters have clashed with law enforcement in recent weeks amid the Trump administration's push to increase ICE raids in Los Angeles and surrounding areas, rattling immigrant communities.
Dodgers do better.
Critics argue that the Dodgers franchise has remained silent amid some ongoing anger and frustration with ICE raids.
Our people are under attack, and the largest economic engine in this area is silent. Wake up! Do better! We know you can.
The Dodgers are expected to announce plans to assist the immigrant community impacted by the recent DHS operations. And not all within the franchise have been tight-lipped. Utility player Kike Hernandez, a native of Puerto Rico, showed his support for the city he calls his second home. In a recent Instagram post, Hernandez writes that he, quote, cannot stand to see our community being violated, profiled, abused, and ripped apart. And Aaron, the gates are just now opening for this long line of cars to enter for tonight's game. This is not the gate where the agents were spotted earlier today. That was at on the east side of the property. There are some protesters who have started to gather right here, protesting the Trump administration, also protesting the team for what they perceive as silence up to this point. That's what's been bubbling now to a fever pitch today when they saw what happened with those agents. As we mentioned, we're expecting a statement from the Dodgers about supporting the immigrant community. That hasn't come out yet, but we are waiting for that, Aaron.
All right. Thank you very much, Natasha. I appreciate it. And I want to go now to the Democratic Congressman Jimmy Gomez of California. Dodger Stadium is within your congressional district, Congressman, so I appreciate your time. All right. So can we just start on what happened today? You know, Customs and Border Protection they're saying that this isn't what it seemed, right? Dodgers have said ICE agents tried to access the stadium in some way. Mm-hmm. And DHS says, well, no, it wasn't ICE. I mean, do you know exactly what happened?
Yeah, well, first, let me just say this. DHS, as well as ICE, CBP, a lot of these spokespersons have been straight up just lying about different incidents. One occurred with me. They said they didn't allow me into a detention center because there was 1,000 protesters outside. There was no one outside except me and about 20 people that were mainly reporters, attorneys, and my staff. So don't always believe anything that they say. Also, when I got first reports from my staff, we were being told that it was the raids that occurred in Hollywood, that people were being picked up in at the Home Depot were actually in the vans that were going up to Dodger Stadium. So when they say that they weren't involved in any enforcement, probably not true. Also, one of the problems that we've seen because of this operation is that they cover up what agency they're with. You know, we have all sorts of people on the streets here, but they're all part of the same operation in the ICE raids that are really terrorizing our communities and our neighborhoods.
So you know, from your understanding, you're saying that perhaps there were raids nearby. You mentioned Home Depot, and that they were
correct.
I don't know what the word might be, but you know, trying to store their vans up at the stadium or switch people into different vans, some sort of staging or operational thing going on perhaps at the stadium?
Yeah, correct. That's what we were, what my staff was telling me, and that's what different immigrant rights groups were tracking all day. We were made aware of the raids earlier in Hollywood, and that those were they say, that's what the reports say, from these groups that there were the same vans. So when they say that they weren't involved in any operation, I would say take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Most of the time, what they're telling us is a lie.
We're waiting for a statement from the Dodgers. As you heard Natasha Chen say, speaking to the immigrant community and to what's going on in LA. But right now, what we understand is that the Dodgers refused this access to the stadium, that the team did. Do you understand that to be the case?
Yeah, that's what they claimed. They said that they refused it. That's what we heard from their government affairs office, is that they were trying to the agents that were trying to seek access or stay in that I would say that where that gate is. Yes. And the Dodgers basically asked them to leave, their security as well as the LAPD. But what they had to do was LAPD had to clear out the protesters that were at the bottom of the road for them to go. So that's what I heard that the Dodgers did.
All right. Well, Congressman Gomez, I appreciate your time and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And next.